2014, it was our sixth field season looking for HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, the two ships of the ill-fated Sir John Franklin expedition, which departed England in 1845 with high hopes of finally identifying an elusive passage through the northwest, what is now the Canadian Arctic Archipelago, the northwest passage from Europe to the far east.
A lot of the work actually happens before you go. So prior to going, there's at least a year of preparation, of coordination, of trying to get the equipment. Once you're up in the Arctic, you should have everything rolling as smooth as you can as far as equipment and staff and ships are happening. So preparation is key. Now, once you go up to the Arctic, I guess the excitement builds because you've finally prepared for so long, and then you're finally there to start the work.
So essentially there were two areas of interest. There are two search areas. One, the so-called northern search area, which was in Victoria Strait, and then the second southern search area, which is in Queen Mother Gulf. And the search in previous years had focused largely on the southern search area. That's easier to get to. It has less ice, concerns about ice. So it just was an easier, more logical target. Also, of course, the Inuit testimony suggests that there was a ship in the southern search area. So it's it was a logical place to go look.
Even for someone like myself who studied the Arctic for 7 or 8, going on 10 years, the Arctic is such a variable and geographically heterogeneous environment. So many different parts of the Arctic. I'd never actually been in the high Arctic archipelago where our expedition started, so just getting to experience that environment was unlike any of my work, which is focused in the sort of low Arctic, the Western Arctic.
It was my first time being in the southern part of the Arctic and my first time going through the Northwest Passage, as well as being on a ship. It was really interesting to see how difficult it is to navigate through the Northwest Passage and how much of an influence sea ice has on what you're able to do.
The Canadian Arctic is a very challenging environment. It's one of the most inaccessible and remote places in the world. It presents a spectrum of challenging environmental conditions as well.
You have to be able to adjust and change on the fly all the time. So basically conditions change quickly. So you have to adapt. You basically get up in the morning and see what nature throws at you, and then you go with that. So if everything is prepared, then you just face the conditions and try to make the best out of those conditions.
Well, I mean, the biggest problem was the ice. The ice really pushed us to the brink. There was a lot of stress associated with that. We kept it playing this sort of cat and mouse game, trying to find an opening in the ice where we could actually do some survey work, and then just as we deploy the AUV that we had with us, which was provided by Defence Research Development Canada. It's just an amazing piece of technology. We just get it deployed, and then the winds would start to shift and the ice would start to move, and then we'd have to get it out after a few hours. So it was a real sort of, it caused a lot of stress, and that stress I think filtered through a little bit into the whole expedition. That we, people were just under pressure. There was a high level of expectation of success. The Prime Minister had said, "We're going to find Franklin. This is the year." Well, when you have the Prime Minister expressing publicly that expectation, you're going to feel under pressure, and so there was a sense of feeling that pressure, but through a series of events, we were successful.